Well, the Vikings, after playing in the championship game in the NFC last year, just trying to get into the playoffs. So if they win and an Eagle loss today, and we'll be watching that, or a tie as the Eagles play the Texans, they'll get in. Or if they just win the remaining 2 games regardless, they'll lock up a playoff spot. For more on the Vikings, let's head down to the field. Say hi to Laura Oakman.
Hi, Chris. Mike Zimmer told his team all season, I've been trying to figure out what was different from last year, saying the vibe just felt different, but I didn't understand why. And then he said, we go out and play the way we played last week, and I told him, that's my team. Kirk Cousins said, that's because it's the closest we've come to showing what we're capable of, but now can we put it all together? If we want to be a playoff team, this is the kind of game we have to win. If we don't win, maybe we don't deserve to be in. Chris?
All right, thank you very much. The Vikings coming off their best performance in all 3 phases in that victory against the Dolphins. They deferred the opening kick, sails through the end zone, or to the back of the end zone, as Dan Bailey delivers the touchback. And here comes Iron Man Matthew Stafford behind Phillip Rivers and Matt Ryan, a consecutive string of starts despite an ailing back the last couple of weeks that has limited him in practice. We'll be keeping a close watch, especially with his vicious pass rush of the Vikings. Their earlier meeting this year, he was sacked 10 times.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Matthew Stafford is very open about that streak and what it means to him. You know, he wants to be on that field every snap, every game for his players to create consistency at the quarterback position.
LeGarrette Blunt from the 25. The surge forward picks him maybe 3 or 4 as they carry on the running game without Kerryon Johnson. He went on the injured list along with a number of other surrounding parts for Matthew Stafford.
We always talk about supporting cast for quarterbacks, and the Lions have just been decimated there. The trade with Golden Tate, guys on IR that are key contributors. The big thing today, you know, can they find a way to run the ball effectively? They've got to stay ahead of the chains against this Vikings defense.
Zach Zenner has come in. Zenner with a move and just short of a first down. Gets up near the 33-34 yard line against a Viking defense led up front by a number of players. Linval Joseph, Everson Griffin, who just made that tackle, and we showed you Daniil Hunter moments ago going to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, Anthony Barr kind of back from that hamstring injury, healthy, his first multi-sack game of his career last week. That's your #1 threat. And what they're going to do, George Edwards, the defensive coordinator, they're going to try and get Anthony Barr one-on-one versus linebackers in protection.
Zenner, can he get the first down at a big hole? Zach Zenner in space, stiff arming his way inside the Viking 40 before Harrison Smith ran him out of bounds.
Nice patience by Zach Zenner here, because look at all the Viking bodies up there in that line of scrimmage. You have patience, you're able to make the move, and because they've got everybody committed up there, once you break that initial wave, you force Harrison Smith to make the play in the secondary.
Last 2 games, Zenner has rushed for 99 yards. He picked up 29 yards there and spotted at the 37. The Vikings playing without their leading tackler, linebacker Eric Kendricks, because of a hamstring injury. Eric Wilson is in for him. Stafford, floating one. Galladay, incomplete. Xavier Rhodes was running with Kenny Galladay. Looked like maybe that ball was underthrown. Had he let him, he might have had 6.
Yeah, probably a little bit of the pressure that is in Matthew Stafford's face. It's hard for him to get something on the ball rolling to his right. So I agree, Chris, a little bit underthrown right there. This is going to be a fun matchup to watch during the course of the day. I hope it's Xavier Rhodes against Kenny Galladay all afternoon.
Do you expect him to travel?
Well, they've got a good guy on the other side with Trey Wade, so you don't have to if you don't want to.
42, ready.
And a Pro Bowler at Harrison Smith at the safety spot. Second down 10. Blunt grabbed right away and knocked down. That's a tough loss. Anthony Barr, you're just talking about, and another Viking going to the Pro Bowl.
So many things go into being a great blitzer, and this one is going to be timing, and you're going to see him come in here. He's going to time it perfectly on the snap, and that gets you unblocked into the backfield. So it's not just the physicality and all the other things that you talk about, hands and stuff. They have great timing when they come from linebacker depth and secondary depth in their blitzes.
Loss of 3, now 3rd and 13. Theo Riddick, receiving back, is in, along with Zenner.
Ready. Hey, hold. Yeah.
Stafford dumps Flips it off, but a tackle right away inside the 45 by Eric Wilson, who we just mentioned is playing for Kendricks, and the Viking defense tackle for losses stymies the drive by the Lions.
It was a nice drive to start, and it just takes that one negative play that was created by Anthony Barr. You know, you miss a shot down the field, you're in 2nd and 10, and then you have that negative play. Now you're behind the chains, and now you're playing right into the strength of that Vikings pressure defense.
Marcus Sherrills challenged prior to last week's game about being a little more aggressive on punt returns, and he responded well as Sam Martin kicks it high, and it hits at the 5, and the Lions flip it, and they're there to down it. An excellent special teams play inside the 2-yard line by Andy Jones, who flipped the ball back. Vikings on offense, but in a hole.
The Lions showing they can play complementary football as well. Andy Jones, a great job right here, not carrying the ball into the end zone, touching that line, flips it back. They get it down inside the 2-yard line. Walker
haul it in. Sam Martin with a 42-yard punt. So at the 2-yard line, the Viking offense. And we got a flag. Vikings.
False start, number 79, offense. Half the distance to the goal, still first down.
That's on Tom Compton, the left guard. The second fewest penalties in the NFL coming into this weekend behind Tennessee, as Kirk Cousins' most touchdown passes by a Viking quarterback since Brett Favre in 2009. But the turnovers have hurt. He'll keep just to try and move things forward on 1st and 11. Dalvin Cook coming off that career best 136 yards, a multi-touchdown game in that well-played game by the Vikings against the Dolphins. And this offense led by a duo of receivers in Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, one over 1,000, the other one getting close.
Yeah, tough combo to cover, and Coach Stefanski has a lot of options with the skill players on that offense.
It's C.J. Hand, the fullback. And it'll be 3rd and long, an opportunity for this Lions defense. Either good field position or maybe a takeaway. Ziggy Ansah on injured reserve, but up front, Damon Harrison, despite a sore ankle. Snacks has 3.5 sacks. And Jared Davis, the leading tackler on the Lions team from that linebacker spot.
Paul Pasqualoni, the defensive coordinator for the Lions, right there changing personnel, expecting a little bit more wide open approach here on 3rd down.
From his own end zone, Cousins incomplete. Diggs, the intended receiver, and a rough start for an offense that was cruising in that victory over the Dolphins. But field position figured in there, and then a penalty made it worse.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're going to be a little bit conservative coming off your own end line. So, you know, a challenging first possession for the Vikings. But I think you hit the nail on the head, Chris. I want to see this offense against this Lions defense that has made some drastic improvements since the first time they played. Can they match what they did last week against the Dolphins?
Matt Weil, 5th-generation family of attendees at Michigan. Punting from his own end zone. Jamal Agnew, healthy once again, coming off a knee injury. On a bounce, tries to stay with it, just gathers it in across midfield. Well, the Vikings lead this series after winning the first between the two earlier this year. We'll see how the Lions and Vikings wind up today. Matthew Stafford, 10th season at the age of 30, every start since the beginning of 2011, and the current active streak that includes Rivers, who lost yesterday, and Matt Ryan, who's playing today in Carolina. Second offensive series for the Lions after a 54-yard punt without a return. From their own 43, Galladay, a first down, and inside the 40 of the Vikings before he runs out of bounds.
People talk about when you bring pressure that it's a tip-off for the defense, that the advantage goes to that side of the field. As an offensive player through my career, we loved when teams blitzed because that meant we had matchups out there. They have to play man-to-man, and you get guys running free if you can protect and execute the play that was called.
Bring in an extra lineman, a pickup of 21. On the previous drive, Zach Zenner had a career-best 29-yard run. Blunt is in. And LeGarrette Blount waits for a block and does a good job of maneuvering down to around the 31-yard line. Matt Patricia, 3 Super Bowl rings, has been in 3 other Super Bowls, and that's where Mike Zimmer would love to get the Vikings. He's won a couple of division titles since taking over as head coach, just trying to get into the playoffs. And in the earlier meeting, as we mentioned, the Vikings were winners
Back 55.
when they played up in Minnesota.
White 7. Wide 7 hot. Hey, easy. Harper King. Harper King. Harper King. Harper King. Who's that? 42. All right, Omaha.
Center. It'll bring up 3rd down. Need to get to the 26-yard line for a 1st down.
And that's one of the huge things that Matt Stafford talked to us about, that communication pre-snap at the line of scrimmage because of the style of defense that Minnesota plays. But that's just the beginning of it. You've got to get that call out, and then you've got to understand the protection, the change in play, the blocking schemes, hots, all that goes with that at the line of scrimmage, and then go out and execute against a very good defense.
Last few games, he's had fewer passing attempts and trying to get rid of the ball quicker. Andy Jones in motion on 3rd and 3. Riddick tackled right away. Daniil Hunter does more than just sack people. And it's going to be 4th and short. And here comes Matt Prater.
Yeah, and sometimes you get a little bit too cute. You've got to know what that matchup is right there. You mentioned the motion going across with Andy Jones. He's not going to be very successful against Daniil Hunter in those situations. And sometimes you look at backside cutoff and just get a body in front of him when you got a guy that plays the run as well as Daniil Hunter does. You need somebody bigger there.
Prater had 28 straight kicks converted before missing a 48-yarder at Buffalo that would have given the Lions a late lead. Wound up losing a close game from 47 yards away, and the Lions take the early lead over the favored Vikings here at Ford Field. See how Kirk Cousins can do with better field position in just a moment. Lions take advantage of good field position and get 3, and Stafford thanking everybody who contributed, probably beneath the surface saying, hey, I'm been sacked. We've had 2 series so far, so good. Mike Zimmer's team 9 sacks last week against the Dolphins, and the Eagles have taken a 7-0 lead over the Texans. That's important to Mike Zimmer and the Vikings because an Eagle loss and a Minnesota win, as we pointed out, would put them in the playoffs by the end of today. And there are certainly other ways they can get in. Just win your final 2 and the Vikings are playoff worthy. Sam Martin kicking off. Former Lion Amir Abdullah will watch this sail over his head out to the 25-yard line. Comes Kirk Cousins and the Viking offense. Laura.
Quick injury update. Mark Sherrills with the Vikings is questionable. He is in the locker room right now, heading there with a foot injury. His return is questionable, Chris.
All right, thank you, Laura. So that'll make it a difference on punt returns. That was an area that, and you can see last time that he did return a punt on special teams in some pain there. But better starting field position here for Cousins and the Vikings. And one game does not an offense make, but we'll see how they respond against this Lion defense. Alvin Cook to the 29-yard line, maybe the 30, depending on the spot. Cook in his 2nd year, drafted in the 2nd round, the NFC Offensive Player of the Week for the numbers we said that he had against the Dolphins. It was his 2nd career 100-yard rushing game. The other came in his 1st career game. That was against the Saints. Of course, he's battled some injury. Tore his ACL as a rookie back in 2017 in the 4th game, and it came against Detroit. And lines up as a receiver after a 4-yard pickup. Cousins quick throw and through the hands of Stephon Diggs. And you saw him signal that was on me. He should have had it.
And again, when you're playing the style of complementary football, mistakes have to be held at a minimum. And here's an opportunity for Stephon Diggs to make a play right there. A tight coverage ball in a really good location. You're going to be able to catch and run afterwards, and just losing your fundamentals, looking away before you've got it secured.
Cousins completing 70% of his passes, so he's the 2nd most accurate passer this year and career-wise behind Drew Brees of the Saints. and 6. A run to Cook. And he's knocked down right away when he got across the 30-yard line. It did not fool Ricky Jean-Francois.
Well, I tell you, Quandre Diggs recognizes this and is there in a heartbeat. Watch 28 come flying in and run support. Look at that. Coming up from the secondary.
Interesting call on 3rd down and 6 if to play it safe or conservative, maybe expecting a low-scoring game early. Vikings, Mike Zimmer putting his toe in the water. Kevin Stefanski, the offensive coordinator. Jamal Agnew had trouble on the last punt. Hauls this one in from inside his 25 and dances up across the 32-yard line. Diggs with a big play with help up front. Lions lead at 3-0 and have the football. Some of those players that be out there if they were healthy, and they are not. We mentioned Ellington, who just recently went on, and you throw in that Marvin Jones for the Lions. Of course, they traded away Golden Tate. I mean, at least 10 touchdowns of offense missing from this Detroit team. Yeah, and Golden Tate, kind of that security blanket for Matthew Stafford on 3rd down. Some good rapport there. So, again, just kind of working through the process of establishing that supporting cast when injuries hit. Puts a lot on Kenny Galladay in the receiving department. This is LeGarrette Blount. Let's get a game break. First one of the day. We'll be keeping an eye on that Eagles-Texans game. And Carissa Thompson, how are you? I'm good, Chris. Here you go. So the Eagles currently the 17th in the NFC when Nick Foles passes Darren Sproles, who does the rest. 37-yard score. Eagles up early, 7-0. Chris, Carroll, and Laura. All right, we'll be keeping an eye on that throughout. Now the Texans also a chance to clinch a division, along with the New England Patriots. They lead Buffalo 7-0 in the opening quarter. Quick toss to Theo Riddick, who gets a block, and looks like he has enough for a first down before getting out of bounds. I tell you, I like this offensive game plan from the Lions early. He did get the first. They're getting good chunks of yardage on first down, other than that one series when they took a loss. Yes, exactly. And that'll be one of the things you'll see them do on first down. It's going to be a high percentage pass for Jim Bob Cooter. You don't want to get into that 2nd and 10 area because now it's shifted right to the strength of what Minnesota wants to do defensively.
Go ahead. Go ready. Wide 7. Wide 7 hot. Tag 42. Ready. Louidi. Reset.
Stafford from his own 43 dumps it off, juggling and incomplete. Couldn't haul it in. Blunt had the football before Ben Gideon knocked it away. He couldn't haul it in. Yeah, just got to catch it clean. These guys close so fast in the NFL that if you're bobbling the ball like that, you're going to take a big hit, like LeGarrette Blount just did. Again, like you pointed out, Chris, it's a first down pass. Great to be in 2nd and 6 right there if you can get that corralled. Now you're 2nd and 10. You've shifted the favor back to the Vikings pressure style defense.
Back 42. Ready. Louidi. Reset. Alert. Tag 42. Ready. Yep. Louidi. Reset. Zach Zenner gets a good block up front, but is knocked down at the 45. And it'll bring up 3rd down. Linval Joseph making the play, 2-time Pro Bowler.
It's a pretty stout defensive line. A lot of people talk about the pressure that they can bring from the secondary and the linebacker level, but boy, just with the 4 guys, if they just want to rush 4 and drop 7, when you've got Danielle Hunter, Sheldon Richardson, Linval Joseph, and Everson Griffin, that is a tough 4 down to block.
And depth behind them, and Tom Johnson, Jaleel Johnson, and Stephen Weatherly. Lions need a Stafford rolling and looking, and sideline throw. They're going to say he caught it in bounds. Kenny Galladay made the catch. It was just, did he keep his feet in? It looked close. And Detroit hurrying up to the line. There's 1 foot down. Great drags. Got possession. Well done, Kenny Galladay. And they quickly get to the line. Another pass and another reception. Good enough for a first down. Levine Toilolo. Yeah, maybe you stumble onto a little bit something right there, Chris. You tried to get up and snap that ball so they can't challenge that last play, and you catch the Minnesota Vikings having trouble with their coverage because you've moved so quickly. See if they decide to go a little bit up tempo here from time to time. And Galladay with a couple of catches. He's the only receiver on this Lions team with more than 20 catches. Tells you how much between injury and trades and roster moves they're thin, or that they have been, as an extra lineman is in on 1st and 10. Will lose yardage. Harrison Smith cheating a little, coming up from his safety spot.
And here's exactly what you're talking about, Chris. You see the production from Kenny Galladay, and then because of those injuries and those 10 touchdowns that aren't there because of Marvin Jones and Golden Tate, the other guys who aren't there, just 18 catches for 143 yards with the other receivers that are active this afternoon.
So playing a cautious offensive approach, using Galladay, the favorite target of Stafford, now on a 2nd and 13. See if the Vikings decide to blitz. They're threatening. That's Harrison Smith, but they only send 4. And a screen that goes through the hands of LeGarrette Blount. At least they were setting up for a screen.
Yeah, and at some point you just got to get Zach Zenner in the game on these plays right now. LeGarrette Blount having a little bit of trouble tracking the ball and completing these catches, and these are not difficult throws. These are just little checkdowns. That's on the back shoulder, but that's a pass that LeGarrette Blount can catch. So he's had 2 easy drops that have taken away the opportunity for positive yards.
And Blount, not a guy known for receiving, pass catching, and he showed that in the last few. 3rd and 13.
Hey, 91 is down. Tag 50. Tag 50. Ready.
So 91 is down. That's Weatherly of the Vikings. So they decide to run it, and they'll lose yardage. Back at the 39. Theo Riddick just couldn't get going. Mackenzie Alexander from his corner spot. And that looked like it felt like a conservative call.
Well, the one thing you don't want to do is have a negative play, because you just pushed yourself out of field goal range. So you call a run so you don't have to worry about taking the sack. And when you do maybe a conservative play call in that situation with a running play to try and get some positive yards to allow Matt Prater to come on and attempt a field goal, you still lose yards to take you out of field goal range.
They're passing up a Prater field goal try of 55. Instead, Martin punting. Zylstra, the rookie, back there with Sherrill's injured, and he lets it drop and roll. And they'll spot it around the 12-13 yard line for Cousins of the Viking offense. So coming up New Year's Eve, the Red Box Bowl, kicks off between Oregon and Michigan State, 2:30 Eastern. We'll flip over to FS1, Utah, taking on Northwestern in the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. That's at 6:30 Eastern. And you can always catch it on the Fox Sports app.
You're getting geared up. Pitchers and catchers don't report for like 2 months. You're ready to go already.
Well, the Red Sox off the World Series. A lot go. Who's going to sign Bryce Harper? That's a big deal. Michigan State, of course. Kirk Cousins played there. He grew up in Holland, Michigan. It's about 180 miles from here. A lot of friends of his are here that grew up Lions fans. Cousins to throw and well protected. Dumps it off to Latavius Murray, who's knocked out at the 15-yard line by Jared Davis. Well, I guess when you sign a big contract, especially when you're a team that had the success the Vikings did last year, you're just going to expect a lot more out of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, you are. You went out and you brought him in, and one of the things he's got to do, he's got to throw that ball on time. Now, that's really good coverage by Nevin Lawson, and he's a guy that really kind of matched Thielen the last time they played over Darius Slay.
Thielen without a catch. That's him setting up a block, or trying to, for Cook, and he is knocked backwards by the swarming defense. Damon Harrison leading the way, and another game break with Carissa.
Thank you so much, Chris. So Cowboys clinch the NFC East with a win. Dak Prescott helping his team out, takes that one in for a 7-yard score. Cowboys up 7-3. Chris?
They've got to have Dak Prescott be more involved in that run game. He had not really carried the ball on design runs or option runs the last couple of weeks. He's integral to that rushing offense.
3rd and 8 from their own 15. First quarter winding down. Cousins is going to get sacked. Nevin Lawson came from the corner spot. Cousins had a chance to get rid of it, but couldn't find anybody open. It's the first sack of this game, and the first quarter will come to an end with the Lions holding a 3-0 advantage and about to receive the football. Hope you're enjoying this early holiday weekend. Daryl Johnson, Laura Oakman, Chris Myers of the NFL on Fox. Matt Patricia's game plan as we start the second quarter, working defensively. 3 times the Vikings have had the ball, Daryl, at 3 and outs.
Well, we started the broadcast talking about Minnesota playing complementary football. The Lions have done a great job at the start of this game doing that. Their special teams has created good field position for them, challenged Minnesota. Their defense is playing well, and their offense has been opportunistic on short fields. They need to get more opportunities with field goals to get some points, though.
Jamal Agnew, who has great return ability. The block looked like it was on Wild, got it out of there. It's a short kick that'll hit at the 45 and bounce in favor of the Lions at the 38, down by Minnesota, and favorable field position for Matthew Stafford.
You have to take advantage of this field position. It's just a matter of time before this will shift. Momentum, there's swings during the course of the game. Right now it's favoring the Lions and how they've started in the field position. They've been able to control, but they only have 3 points. They've got that 1 field goal. They've got to get points on this drive.
Stafford needing a touchdown pass for his 8th straight season with 20 touchdown passes or more. That's 5 out of 8 so far. LeGarrette Blount gets inside the 35. The running game for the Lions has improved, and it wasn't just Kerryon Johnson. It's an overall commitment, no matter who's back there carrying the ball, by this coaching staff.
Yeah, but Kerryon Johnson was a difference maker for this team. You know, just an unbelievable job by him, and that's what Matt Patricia is wanting to build here in Detroit. It's very similar to what Mike Zimmer is doing in Minnesota. These are both head coaches with defensive backgrounds. They approach the game differently than an offensive-minded head coach.
Another 4-yard pickup on first down, so that allows Stafford room to throw, and it's incomplete. Kenny Golladay was the target. It was catchable, but a low throw. And Rhodes right with him.
That's the big thing about the way that this defense has been built. I mean, you've got great coverage on the back end with Xavier Rhodes and Trey Waynes, and you can bring in Mackenzie Alexander as your nickel guy, and now you just turn that front loose on that quarterback.
Hey, tag 50 lead, tag 50 lead.
Third and 6. Stafford steps up and overthrows Andy Jones. There's a flag down at the 20. And there's another one at the 15 on the other side of the field. Stafford signaling as if he missed on Jones there.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both on the defense. Illegal contact number 29 is declined. Illegal contact number 26 of the defense is accepted. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
They'll take the call on Trey Waynes and let the one on Xavier Rhodes go.
And here's the one that was declined right here. Or no, that's actually the one that was accepted. A little double move right there, and you saw Matthew Stafford, own that one with Andy Jones. He had run a double move. He'd gotten on top of Trey Waynes, and Matthew Stafford missed him on the throw.
Extra lineman Joe Dahl comes in. He's in the backfield with LeGarrette Blount to block for him. He does. Makes a nice hole there for an opportunity to get inside the 25-yard line.
And again, that was third down, so that penalty allows the Detroit Lions an automatic first down and to continue this drive. So a big mistake there by the defense of the Vikings.
And a first down gain of 5 yards, so offense at the advantage here. Controlling the clock as well. Lions have had the ball twice as much as Minnesota. Center. Knocked down right away. Excellent tackle. The Vikings are one of the surest tackling teams in the league. That was Jaleel Johnson, one of the backup linemen who rotates in. It's a loose stat, but they have the fewest missed tackles in the NFL. And there's the time of possession I was talking about. So Cousins and the Viking offense, you go 3 and out, you don't get a lot of opportunities. after that loss of 1. 3rd and 6.
Wide 7. Wide 7. Hey, alert. Here, alert. Alert. Hey, tag 50. Star left. 22 is 4. Ready. Liz. Keep it. Leady.
Extra pressure coming. Picked up for a moment on the throw. Catch made for a first down inside the 20, and that's Galladay again.
Wow. Really, really nice catch, but a great throw by Matthew Stafford. I mean, this is thrown in a position that only Kenny Galladay is going to get it, and it's a great catch. Good coverage by Xavier Rhodes. You can see him extending that arm out to try and get the deflection. Look at the throw.
The breakout season for Galladay continues. Hit the 1,000-yard mark last week. 7 catches, a career-high 146 yards against Buffalo. He has 3 100-yard games this season. And 3 catches today. That was big for a first down. Stafford. Low throw hauled in by Galladay. Swatting at the football there is Ben Getty and the linebacker.
Getting down here, this is an area where in that first matchup, Detroit really struggled. They would get into the red zone of the Minnesota Vikings, and that's kind of where their sack problems originated. They were very poor converting and executing in the red zone in that matchup earlier this season.
And the Lions are averaging 4.5 yards per play.
Tag 42. Tag 42. Ready. Luigi, reset.
2nd and 15. Riddick cuts back. Tries to spin out of an ankle tackle, but can't by Trey Waynes.
Yeah, I'm going to get on my fullback soapbox right now, Chris. You bring in Joe Dahl, an offensive lineman, and you use him as a fullback, and here's the big guy out here motioning in. But these guys are quick. It's different when you're in motion, and that's not an easy thing to ask a guy who's usually in a 3-point stance, blocking a guy who's stationary, to motion him in and now hit a guy who's got multiple ways that he can move.
Frank Ragnow, the rookie from Arkansas, being checked on.
Who says offensive linemen aren't athletes? Watch this radical change of direction by Frank Ragnow. He blows the bottom of his shoe off.
It's like a tire wearing out on a NASCAR race. Joe Dahl comes in for him while they repair the shoe.
There ain't no repairing that shoe. That's gone.
Or give him a new one.
Give me a new one.
Stafford for the end zone and almost intercepted. A turn by the Viking defender on Galladay, and Mackenzie Alexander almost had a takeaway there.
Well, that's the great thing. You're going to have confidence in Kenny Galladay now because you can give him 50-50 balls because this is what he'll do. If it's not the perfect throw, look at him battle. He turns into the defender and makes sure Mackenzie Alexander doesn't get an interception.
Well, when the Viking defense needed a stop, they got it. Matt Prater to try a field goal of 30 yards. He hit from earlier. Made from 47.
Wow.
That was an interesting move.
The old Dallas defensive shift.
Didn't think the old flex defense kind of thing on the offensive line, and that's going to be a penalty.
You got to let everybody know, hey, we're inside 5 yards. Stay in, don't jump.
Remember, it was 4th and 3.
It was not sudden. There was nothing sudden in those movements.
The special teams coach for the Vikings, Mike Prefer.
False start, offense, abrupt movement causing a reaction by the defense. 5-yard penalty.
I disagree. They go up. They don't go forward. They go up.
You talked to Walt Anderson about something similar to that at our pregame meeting.
I don't agree with that call.
Yeah, see, contact
don't agree with that call.
Was made there by Linval Joseph.
It's this whole thing that we had the conversation in the truck. You're exactly right. You know, it drives me crazy. The defense moves and the offense is supposed to hold. If the offense moves, the defense has to hold.
A tricky maneuver makes it a 5 yards more. So from 35 yards away, that's not a problem for Prater in this building. And just over 10.5 to go before halftime. Lions in control of this one so far, 6-0. This has the feel of an old, what would be an NFC Central game here in the NFC North. Grind it out, good defense, field position game, field goals. The Lions with a 6-0 advantage, and Mike Zimmer's team 2-4-1 on the road this year. And now the Texans have moved in front of the Eagles, so that's encouraging for Viking fans. If that score were to hold up, a long way to go, and the Vikings were to rally, then they clinch a playoff spot. We'll be watching it all afternoon. Amir Abdullah, the ex-Lion, has it. And Abdullah cuts up across the 21-yard line. Slow start for a Viking offense that was rolling last week.
Well, last week they played against a defense that's not as good as Detroit's right now. Miami was a bottom 5 run defense team. They were able to have success there, got off to a great start, and you build that momentum. Right now, Kevin Stefanski and his offense, you see right there, they're off to a very slow start today.
Yeah, it's not as easy, and he took over for John DeFilippo. It doesn't, the coach wants to run the ball. Well, 3 and out, you can't keep doing that if you're not getting first downs. The Lion defense has adjusted well on Cook and Murray. That's Diggs in the backfield. And Cook will go nowhere. Nevin Lawson active. They haven't had a snap over their own 30-yard line. Field position certainly has been an issue. Yeah,
and that will impact your play calling. You can see right there all the season highs that they had in that game offensively, and they just haven't had the field position today to become aggressive in their style of play.
Where's your hook? Ready? Where's your hook? Hey, easy, hey. Hey.
Like he's working the orchestra. On 2nd and 11, Cousins is going to get sacked. Romeo Okwara now has 7.5 sacks this season.
And you could see how Kirk Cousins had to hold that football. So good coverage on the back end. That's what allows the sack to happen. You can see Holds, he's trying to get through his progression, just too much time in the pocket on a short drop.
But a veteran quarterback, maybe just get rid of it. That's already the 2nd sack by the Lions defense. The Vikings defense has yet to come up with one today. On 3rd and 18, 3-man rush at the moment. A safe call to Dalvin Cook. And knocked down as he got up across the 23-yard line by Quandre Diggs.
Boy.
And the defense, and Lion fans digging it, forcing a punt here on 4th down, and again should have excellent field position.
And that's been the key here so far in this first half. It's been a field position battle, and the Detroit Lions are dominating this because the Vikings cannot even get 1 first down.
Defensive coordinator looking on. Matt Weil back, standing inside the 10. He's been busy. Agnew from the 31 of Detroit. It's a good kick. Agnew will run out of bounds around the 34-yard line. Lions defense putting it on Cousins and the Vikings. Harping on field position, and the Lions holding the upper hand and have taken advantage for a couple of field goals with Darryl Johnston, Laura Oakman down on the field on Chris Myers, and a lethargic kind of feel in this building. You can understand from a Lions standpoint. Once again, they're not going to the playoffs, but the Vikings have a lot on the line here. And they've been getting pushed around. Stafford completes T.J. Jones with a first down. There were some who were saying, hey, with a back problem and the Lions not in the playoff mix, maybe Stafford shouldn't bother to play in a game like this.
I don't understand that train of thought, because he's been very, very clear that availability is one of the most important abilities he brings to this team as a quarterback. He's going to be out there game in, game out, trying to help this team. He wants his players to know he'll be there. I love the approach he takes. I love the fact that he takes a tremendous amount of pride in his starting streak.
Frank Ragnow is back in at left guard after the shoe blowout, and then Joe Dahl is in the backfield for Blunt. Stafford on first down, and a strike inside the 40 of the Vikings. It'll be another first down, and Kenny Golladay having a big game.
Really nice route combination here. You're going to cross the field and watch how close they come as they rub right here at that mid-level right there. Don't get the separation with the bump of the player, but just a step ahead of Xavier Rhodes and Matthew Stafford. Nice location on the throw.
9 out of 14, nearing the 90-yard mark. 16 on that one, spotted at the 38. Wondering if the Viking defense here, Mike Zimmer, who calls the defense, will try a gamble here at some point.
Bleedy, reset.
Blunt nailed right away. He may lose a yard. That was a tough hit. We've seen a few of those. That's Eric Wilson.
I mean, you've got Eric Hendricks out, so Eric Wilson is in for him, and just really good movement. There's 50 right there, reading the play, diagnosing it, and then great form tackle on LeGarrette Blunt.
Wilson played his college football at Cincinnati. Undrafted free agent, fits well into the Viking defensive scheme. As Zach Zenner comes in. He's the leading rusher in the game at the moment.
Hey, we're good. Back 55. Ready. Lady, reset.
Quick pass to Riddick, and he's tackled right away. Usually when he's in, he's a receiver, and Daniil Hunter was waiting for him with his arms open.
If I'm going to check at the line of scrimmage, if 99 is to the side, I'm throwing a quick screen. I'm going to kill that play, because I mean he diagnoses this and he's right outside. I mean, there's your pass rush. Nope. Okay, I'm just going to get out here and make the tackle.
Well, whatever defense Zimmer's calling, they lost a yard on first down. They lose a few more on second down. So it's 3rd and 14 now. Back penalty, had to throw it early. Incomplete.
Had to be illegal contact. Had to be illegal contact.
Yeah, flag on Mackenzie Alexander, I'm assuming here.
Pass interference, number 20, defense. Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
Yeah, and that was Stafford, Darrell, really made that happen by, even though the pressure was on, receiver wasn't even looking when he threw it.
No, and they're battling right there. Once you're beyond 5 yards, there's the illegal contact. And again, on a 3rd and long situation, Minnesota's defense giving Detroit a first down via penalty.
Yep, they had a problem with that, and it was something they had ironed out through last season, but penalties today have hurt. Fresh set of downs from the 35. Stafford completes inside the 29-yard line. That's TJ Jones.
And you wonder how much they're going to be able to do that this afternoon. You talked about Matthew Stafford and his health, and it's a back, and it's a tough thing to play through. And the one thing you want to do against this defense is move the pocket. But how mobile, how much agility does Matthew Stafford have as he battles through this?
Yeah, his completion percentage this year, 67%, is near his career high, which is back in 2015. A chunk of 7 on first down. Can Zach Zenner get another one? No, on second down, he'll lose yardage. Harrison Smith is back there.
One of the things that you have to worry about when you do a perimeter-based run game is setting the edge. And there's Harrison Smith right on the left side, outside of number 87, Levine Toilolo. Motion comes in to pin him on the inside. He feels it. He gets upfield, and he sets that edge. He forces Zach Zenner back inside to where all his teammates are. Great job battling through about 3 offensive players from the Lions.
A big down for the Viking defense because the Lions are in field goal range, and another one takes it away from a one-score game. Galladay, top of your screen in motion. Stafford floats one sideline, and this time there is no flag. Galladay was covered. It looked like Holton Hill, the rookie from Texas, was over there. And a job well done. Matt Prater comes on to try and make it a 9-0 game.
Yeah, but missed opportunities here by the Lions early in this game. Their defense has done a great job giving them great field position, and they just haven't been able to cash in by scoring a touchdown on any of these drives.
48 yards away. Sam Martin, the punter, will hold. Don Muhlbach, who's battling a calf injury. The snap. It's up and through. Well, enough not be an exciting offensive show, but it's a 9-0 lead for the Lions. Now this from Progressive. Scoring drive took over 4 minutes. 140 yards of total offense for the Lions. Maybe nothing to brag about, but the Vikings offense, 5 total yards.
Yeah, it's the length of the drive, right? It was a 9-play, 21-yard scoring drive last time. That one, 8 plays, 36-yard scoring drive. So you can see the defense and the special teams creating great opportunities for this offense, but settling for field goals right now, which is troublesome.
4 3-and-outs, no first downs, and nothing across their own 30-yard line for the Viking offense. And they want to see Abdullah return. At one time as a Lion, he had a fumbling problem, but here he darts up across the 30. And that's the best field position for this offense. Mike Zimmer, during his run here, he had Norv Turner. You see where the rankings were. When he moved on, Pat Shurmur stepped in for finishing the season and then continuing on, and they were top 10 with Shurmur, averaging almost 24 a game. Hired John DeFilippo from the Eagles when Shurmur took the Giants head coaching job, and Kevin Stefanski, who's survived 3 other head coaching reigns, who's been here and well thought of in the organization, get moved up.
So hot. Where's the hot?
Cousins to throw, and he dumps it off to Dalvin Cook, who has room to run, and Cook stays inbounds. A flag comes in. We may have a block on Diggs, an illegal block. That's going to foul this up for the Vikings.
After the catch and during the run, holding number 14, offense. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
You look at the box score after this, and you won't think that the penalty has been a big situation during the course of this game, because the yardage total is not going to be bad. But they're huge penalties. There's an explosive play by Dalvin Cook that's coming back. We've had 2 3rd and longs with illegal contacts that have given the Detroit Lions the football again. They should have gotten called, in my opinion, for neutral zone infraction on a 4th down field goal attempt that would have given the Lions back the football deep in their red zone. So right now, small penalties, but very, very costly in the complexion of the game.
Yeah, it would have been a 29-yard gain. It really wasn't even necessary. It was at the back end of that play. The ball will now be spotted at the 41-yard line. And you're right, Darryl. The penalties, as I mentioned, the Vikings, one of the few teams that is not penalized very often in this game. They're having a problem with that against the Lions in key situations. Latavius Murray for a few yards and a game break with Carissa.
Thanks, Chris. Not what Vikings fans want to see right now. Nick Foles finds Zach Ertz for this 1-yard score, his 7th of the season. 2-point conversion, no good. Eagles up in this one, 13-9. Chris?
Philadelphia keeping its playoff hopes alive. Back the Eagles and Vikings played for the right to go to the Super Bowl last year. A blowout for the Eagles, and they went on to win it all, of course, against the Patriots. Cousins rolling and throwing. Kyle Rudolph with a first down. Similar looking play. There's Diggs out in front again, waving his arms at the official. They're going to spot this around the 42 of Detroit.
And this is one of the big changes in what Kevin Stefanski has brought to this offense. It's more under center. There's more run. And off that run is play action. And I thought it was interesting talking to Mike Zimmer. He goes, you know, as you prepare during the course of the week, play action is something that we didn't spend a lot of time on. You worry about the run game. You worry about the pass game. But you kind of forget about that crossover portion of it. So they've really kind of gone back and worked a lot on their play action defense.
Back-to-back first downs after having 4 3-and-outs. Cook will get knocked down right away. And there's a flag down right at the 40.
Holding number 82, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
That's on Kyle Rudolph, the veteran tight end. Boy, for a team with so much to play for, the Vikings are kind of sleepwalking through this first half. And some discussion over on that sideline. In fact, if it wasn't for the Viking defense being as tough as they are despite penalties, it might be more than 9-0.
It should be.
Cousins, will he throw it deep. Will they have an opportunity to go deep? He's been sacked twice. Thielen on an inside run, and he goes across midfield. Jared Davis making the play. All 3 timeouts for the Vikings. And we've hit the 2-minute warning. It's that festive time of year, and our crew is ready for Santa to visit. That's right around the corner. I didn't know Jay Glazer was here at Ford Field. It's a look-alike. You'll see him with the other guys. Visa halftime report. Eagles important in the playoff picture. Their game against the Texans, highlights of that. Patriots are on their way to their 10th straight division title. They lead 14-0. All the highlights and scores on the Visa halftime report. And an overthrow on 2nd and 17 in the area of Stephon Diggs. Darius Slay was running with him.
Yeah, and there's that shot down the field that you've been waiting for, Chris. And again, it's kind of, you get out towards midfield. It's one of those staples in a lot of offensive coordinators' repertoire. You get out near that part of the field, and you feel comfortable with that shot down the field.
Slay, the top cover corner on that Detroit defense, and Kevin Stefanski trying to find an answer.
They got 3rd and 17s, 3rd and 18s. Tough to be successful when you put yourself in those down and distances.
No catches for Diggs or Thielen. Cousins wide open. Thielen has it inside the 10. How he got loose on that sideline, but he was alone. And Slay is hurting.
Here's Adam Thielen up at the top of the screen. It's got to be a double move to get that far open. It's kind of a double move with a blown coverage. You had 3 guys in the middle of the field, so Darius Slay, I don't know why his focus was towards the center of the field, because you already had 2 defenders running down the middle.
Yeah, you had Deshaun Shedd, and then there's Slay, who's still down. We have a timeout. Lions will be charged with 1. They'll have 2 remaining after a 40-yard pickup on the flip to a wide open Adam Thielen. We certainly hope that Darius Slay is okay. Chatting with the medical staff.
Tough to see exactly what happened with the collision. Was it the shoulder? Did he get a burner, a pinched nerve? You hope that it's not something where he's going into concussion protocol. Looks like, yeah, kind of stretched that neck out a little bit, so maybe that collision with Adam Thielen.
Yeah, almost a helmet to helmet. He was trying to avoid that, obviously, and make the play, cover the ground. So he'll head to the sideline. Already had Deshaun Shedd in. He may take that spot from the 9-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for the Vikings, their best scoring opportunity in this game, trailing 9-0.
And as well as Detroit has controlled the flow of this game the entire first half. Here you sit on the verge of going in at halftime at 9-7 because you're kicking field goals and not taking advantage. It's just a matter of time before the Vikings offense is going to find that rhythm.
Slay being checked on. Marcus Cooper comes in, the secondary, to replace the injured player, Dalvin Cook. Knocked down around the 8. Blake Ford, the rookie, coming up to make the play. Another game break with Carissa.
Thanks, Chris. Colts trailing 14-0 to the Giants. Andrew Luck hands it off to rookie running back Naheem Hines, who scores from 1 yard out. Giants still winning this one 17-7.
All right, thank you. Coach of the Year candidate Frank Reich, who was part of that Eagles staff. DeFilippo came here. He went to Indianapolis when Josh McDaniels left that situation an opportunity to coach and stay to New England. The Vikings will actually have a timeout here by the Lions, which helps the Vikings on 2nd and goal on a run play that didn't go anywhere. Cook has 16 yards on 6 carries. Remember, he had 136 last week.
It's just opportunity. Part of the run game is getting into a flow and getting into a rhythm, understanding how the linemen are blocking the defenders that day. They've not been able to do that because of all the 3 and outs previous to this drive.
Thielen's only catch of the game set this up. Cousins fires for the end zone. Touchdown, Stephon Diggs. They made that look easy. Working against Marcus Cooper, who came in for the injured Darius Slay. What's Diggs doing over there?
As you pointed out, Chris, going right after Marcus Cooper, who's in for Darius Slay, and it's just a simple speed out. Made that look entirely too easy. That's a lot of hard work that evaporated quickly on that drive.
Stopping for a photo after the touchdown catch by Diggs. And the extra point is good, and all of a sudden it is a 2-point game. Lions have dominated, and the playoffs hanging in the balance for the Minnesota Vikings. So what do you expect? Are the Vikings adjusting offensively to Matt Patricia's defensive game plan, or have the Lions missed an opportunity to put this game away early?
They missed a big opportunity, and it's kind of a replay of what happened in that first matchup. They moved the ball well, but didn't get any points down in the red zone. Took a lot of sacks. Didn't even get field goal attempts. At least they got a little bit of points here. But, I mean, you worked that hard for the entire half, and then now all the momentum coming out second half is going to go to the Minnesota Vikings. That's a tough half to go in and sit down and, you know, we've played so well. We've done everything the way we wanted to, and we just don't feel comfortable in this situation. But also goes back to a little bit of what Laura talked about at the top with Kirk Cousins. If we can't win this game, we don't deserve to go to the playoffs. They've got to earn that right, and that was just a poor half. You mentioned how lethargic it felt in here, and kind of the bench for the Vikings.
5 penalties, and most were key penalties that kept drives alive or stalled Viking drives. Agnew on the return for the Lions. Lions will have 1 timeout in less than a minute and a half. Laura?
The Vikings needed those points for the board, but also just for the energy. Chris, you said the word lethargic before about the first half play, but that's been the energy on the sideline for a team coming in with everything that to gain with this game and needing these 2 wins. There's been very little energy, very little juice on the sideline until that touchdown. So that was needed just to get a little jolt in here.
Yeah, and it looked like Kirk Cousins was feeling a little more animated with his sideline. You know, they went back and looked at some of his successful years there when they were going through their offensive funk, and they said, well, look, over center, he's more comfortable and take advantage of one of the better play action quarterbacks, passers in the league. That's what worked so well against the Dolphins last week. They're trying to carry that forward this week. It helped the running game as well. But the Lions were not going to give up anything easily. And it took that big 40-yard pass play, almost a busted coverage, and Slay being out of the lineup for the Vikings to get on the board. Stafford incomplete. Andy Jones, free agent from Jacksonville, was the target.
And you've got to be careful right here that you don't have a 3 and out and turn this ball right back over to the Vikings that have just gained all that momentum. And as Laura talked about, maybe getting some of that emotion on the sideline. And gosh, they could go in at halftime up 10-9 after a very poorly played first half by them.
Stafford with time goes the other way and incomplete. No flag. Levine Toilolo, and a flag came late on Toilolo. Harrison Smith was covering.
Illegal contact, number 29. Defense, 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
All right, they are calling Xavier Rhodes for that. He's saying, me? What did I do?
Yeah, opposite side of the field. They're going to go with Xavier Rhodes with the illegal contact. And a 3rd and long twice, and now a 2nd and 10. And once you get beyond 5 yards, you can't play that physically.
First down and a catch in the middle of the field at the 35. Knocked backwards, T.J. Jones. There have been 3 or 4 of those defensive penalties that have kept drives alive for the Lions. Batted incomplete. Harrison Smith coming in, knocked it away, stops the clock at 3rd and 4, and an opportunity here.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have good timing on both of these blitzers on this play again, and that's one of the key components is that timing. You bring 2 to one side. Theo Riddick could only take 1, so you're able to get Eric Wilson free to the quarterback.
And Stafford gets knocked down. 12 out of 20, nearing 100 yards through the air. They threaten blitz.
Hey, Folsom!
The quick pass, short of the first down. T.J. Jones caught it, tried to get through the Viking defenders. And we have an injured player as the Vikings are going to use a timeout. That's Mackenzie Alexander. It looks like he's all right. He's going to head over to the Viking sideline. 4th and 1, 45 seconds, and the punting unit coming out. Time for another game break with Carissa.
Thanks, Chris. Texans trailing 13-9 in Philly when Deshaun Watson keeps it for himself. 6-yard score, his second rushing touchdown of the day. Texans up 16-3. They clinch the AFC East with a win. Chris.
All right, Texans want to get that division in the AFC South nailed down. Patriots can clinch the AFC East. They lead 14-0 at the half over Buffalo. Dallas, the Cowboys lead 17-6 at home against the Buccaneers, and they can clinch the NFC East. All the highlights coming up, updated scores, and the latest on the playoff picture. After this, just one regular season Sunday remains. Brandon Zylstra back to receive. Marcus Sherrills injured in the first quarter of this game on a punt return. As a flag flies from Concordia Moorhead, was nailed by Tracy Walker. You got to give room to make the catch or to receive the punt.
He tried to time it up where he was going to arrive right as the ball did, but just looked like he was just a little bit early. Now the question was, I don't think he was blocked into him to make that contact.
Yeah, and I didn't see a fair catch call by Zylstra.
No, so no fair catch. It's just, is he there early?
And it looks like he is. Ball hit Walker. The officials discussing it. Yeah, he's there early.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both by the kicking team. During the kick, illegal block in the back, number 10 of the kicking team. That penalty is declined. Kick catch interference, number 47 of the kicking team. That penalty will be enforced 15 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
So now the Lions committing a big penalty. That'll march the ball forward. Vikings have 2 timeouts and 36 seconds. And maybe in position, if they want to be aggressive, to give Dan Bailey a shot to add 3 and maybe take the lead. There is the former Cowboy place kicker.
You've got 2 timeouts. You know, we always go off a play being about a 6-second time lapse if you're going to use your timeout. So an opportunity for 5 to 6 plays here, depending on how long Kirk Cousins has to hold the football, along with those 2 timeouts. So a great opportunity to get into position for a field goal attempt.
Diggs knocked down right away. That didn't do anything. Diggs. That was Stephon Diggs being tackled by Quandre Diggs. Can you dig it? I knew that you could. Dan Bailey, his career long a 56-yarder. He's hit from 52 this year. Signed after the second week of the season by the Vikings, replacing Daniel Carlson, who missed 3 field goals in the wretched tie in Green Bay. Packers are trailing the Jets 21-14 at the Meadowlands. They picked up 2, burned a timeout. They'll have 1 remaining. Vikings on their first 4 drives, they had 5 total yards. Last drive, they had almost 90 yards and produced a touchdown. Cousins has time, and open is Thielen. They're going to say that he got out of bounds, spotted at the 48 of Minnesota, and that's big. It preserves that one remaining timeout.
Absolutely, because it's a great effort by Adam Thielen getting out of bounds. Because as you pointed out, Chris, you're able to keep that second timeout, that last timeout in your pocket. So great effort right there to get out of bounds, because now you can use the whole middle of the field and be able to stop that clock.
Have a member of the Lions, they're out of, that would be their last timeout, so they're out of timeouts. And speaking of Thielen, by the way, a smart play, he's had a terrific year. He had 8 straight 100-yard games receiving early in the season, but he's only had 1 in the last 6 games where he's had over 100 receiving yards. Outstanding season, though, with 9 touchdowns, over 105 catches, 1,200 yards.
And let's not forget what happened. You know, there was a lot of upheaval about this Vikings offense going through that stretch, but it was a pretty challenging schedule. I mean, at Chicago, Green Bay at home, at New England, at Seattle. Those are tough venues to play at. Those are tough defenses to go against. So the move to Stefanski after that time, some people said, you know, and then you give him the opportunity to go against that Dolphin team. But there's some things that have been skewed because of how good that schedule was, how tough that schedule was.
Yeah, he's had to show some patience here today. So Nevin Lawson, the injured corner going off for the Lions. Darius Slay, who left on the last series, is back in. Remember, they took advantage of Cooper on the touchdown. Can they get in position? 1st and 10. Cousins. There's a flag down, and he's running for his life back there, and almost threw an interception. Over Quinn. Got his hands on the football. Check the flag.
Holding number 74, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Right guard Mike Remmers called for the infraction.
Well, you're not supposed to be able to do this, right? You're rushing 3 because you want to drop 8 into coverage. You're trying to frustrate the quarterback with your coverage. They're getting the best of both worlds. They're getting pressure up the middle on a double team. So with a 3-man rush, they're flushing the quarterback out of the pocket, which falls right into what they're doing because they've got 8 guys in coverage.
Another costly penalty for the Vikings. Cousins dumps it off, and Dalvin Cook goes out of bounds with 12 seconds remaining. He had Aldrick Robinson deep, but there were Lions surrounding him. Robinson, a touchdown maker since he's been added to Minnesota. He's got 5 touchdown grabs.
This has all been self-inflicted by Mike Zimmer's team here in the first half. They haven't executed well offensively. Detroit has played better complementary football, has forced field position, but their execution is poor. Their penalties, the penalties here in the first half have really been costly for the Vikings.
It's been a herky-jerky first half at Ford Field. Cousins. Rudolph breaks a tackle. Clock running. Can he get out of bounds? They better use a timeout or the first half's going to end. And let's see if they called it. And we may have.
He was going backwards. I wouldn't be surprised if it would keep running.
They may have called it from the sideline.
Well, it's lack of understanding at this time of the game.
Timeout with 2 seconds on the game clock.
All
2 seconds.
I'll tell you what.
Anderson on top of things, at least.
Well, Kyle Rudolph, all he's got to do is turn and go north and south. You've got a timeout. You've got a timeout, so turn and go upfield right now or give yourself up and call the timeout.
Well, you can see on the game clock that Walt Anderson giving the Vikings credit for that timeout. Meanwhile, halftime, Texans leading the Eagles. Houston trying to nail down the division. And the Eagles trying to stay alive in the playoff picture. All right, Kenny Golladay is deep. They brought him in to play some defense, maybe try to bat a Hail Mary throw.
He's great at 50-50 balls, so might as well give him a shot here on the Hail Mary.
Yeah, he's 6'4". Cousins is trying to get it to the end zone. The Hail Mary from Cousins. It's caught! It's Kyle Rudolph for the Viking touchdown! In a crowd, the 6'6" Rudolph. Hauled it in.
Well, you didn't have anybody in front of him. And you said at 6'6". I mean, Deshaun Shedd, his feet are on the ground.
Kenny Golladay was behind him trying to play defense. 44-yard Hail Mary touchdown. And the extra point gives the playoff hopeful Vikings the lead. Rudolph with Christmas right around the corner. Take a look at the play of the first half presented by DirecTV. More for your thing, that's our thing. And Stephon Diggs with a touchdown catch and enjoying the scenery. Hey, I'll watch the game as well as play it. What a play to end the first half. The Vikings punch out another touchdown. The Visa halftime is coming up. Time for today's game flow, brought to you by Progressive. The host Lions dominating until, well, we'll call it a Christmas miracle to help the Vikings get closer to the playoffs. Darryl Johnston, Chris Myers, they get a couple of touchdowns in a few minutes. The Hail Mary catch. You're celebrating after scolding Kyle Rudolph for not getting out of bounds. The 6'6" tight end goes back, hauls it a Hail Mary. And Rudolph with your catch so bright. Won't you guide my team tonight?
There you go. I mean, it was the camera guys early on that did it. And then how do you not follow up some Christmas spirit with Kyle Rudolph making this play? And yes, I was critical for his lack of awareness on that previous play. And that was a great redemption play right there. And the Lions kind of followed suit. That was not defended well in that situation. And it's happened to him a couple of times throughout the history of the last few years.
And you even put on the jacket there, very festive, that has some reindeer on that. I was talking to Kyle Rudolph before the game. That ends a string of 11 straight games, the longest in his career, going without a touchdown catch. This is his 8th season. He had 2 touchdown catches earlier in the year, and we may see him again soon as the Vikings will get the ball on offense. I mentioned the former basketball player in Cincinnati growing up in high school, and he leaped into the air to haul that one in. Let's head down to the field and Laura.
Chris, I'm going to start with Mike Zimmer. We were talking about the last 2 touchdowns, and he simply said, we needed that. We haven't been playing well offensively. We haven't been able to get that run game going. It just hasn't been effective defensively. They've kept us off balance. We've got to settle down. Matt Patricia said we had done a good job defensively, but it doesn't matter because we gave up 2 plays that were catastrophic. Offensively, we have to sustain drives. Can't move backwards. We got to keep moving forward.
And now they have 174 total yards, so that's more than what the Lions have. Really 2 big plays, the pass to Thielen and then the Hail Mary. And Cousins comes out throwing and incomplete pressure. He's trying to go to Thielen. He got knocked to the turf.
And one of the big things we've heard this year is it's a response-driven league. So what is the response of this Lions team going to be after controlling the game almost the entire first half until that last minute and 43 seconds?
John Atkins with a hit and then a look on Kirk Cousins, who has been sacked a couple of times. He's been under pressure. Meanwhile, the Vikings defense has yet to sack Matthew Stafford, but that throw right before the half, and Cousins had to move around and make that happen to get the Hail Mary out there. Could change everything for this team as the Eagles are trailing in their game. If they lose and the Vikings win, Minnesota's in the playoffs. So there's a nice throw to Thielen.
That was a really nice throw by Kirk Cousins right there, because they had a little bit of coverage underneath that throw. So when you're going to the outside and you've got coverage over the top, you're going to watch Quandre Diggs is going to drift back a little bit and kind of challenge that under component in the coverage. So right up over the top in between 2 defenders.
Now Thielen has 3 catches. He went through the opening quarter without any. From Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. You always love a local product, undrafted free agent. Minnesota State practice squad, worked his way up. Is a star in this league. Dalvin Cook, can he get going? And there's a first down, churning to the 46-0 Lions.
Isn't it amazing how you have a little bit of success and then things start to click for you on the offensive side of the ball? This offense just started the game so sluggishly, and they have that big play at the end of the half, and they come out, and now they've established that rhythm. We talked about it in the first half, that you know, with Detroit not taking advantage of their field position and points, it was just a matter of time before it swings the other way to Minnesota.
Kevin Stefanski, after 4 3-and-outs, last couple of possessions before this one, touchdowns. Cook again with room to run, but stays on his feet to the 40.
One of the guys that they've got to get blocked, Snacks Harrison, big number 98 in the middle, did a great job early in the game. That defensive line with number 98, Damon Harrison, the centerpiece of that. And right now, the Minnesota offensive line is starting to get some push, and they're getting down, you know, 1.5 yards, 2 yards down off the line of scrimmage.
Harrison weighs almost, well, maybe 360. And Cook he likes the downhill kind of run. He likes coming out of the over center snap from the quarterback, not the shotgun. Fake to him. Cousins open. It's Murray, and he falls forward. Should be enough for a first down. Murray came in with an average of just over 4 yards a carry, and a guy who he really needs the ball to get handed to him quite a bit to get a rhythm going. But it's a good 1-2 punch having a healthy Cook and Latavius Murray.
Yeah, a little bit different in the running styles, but all running backs, and that was the big challenge there early in this game. You know, Minnesota not being able to get anything going on the offensive side of the ball. They couldn't establish that rhythm in the run game.
With that completion, Cousins sets a Viking record. Murray gliding to the 31-yard line. So Cousins now 396 completions this season. It's a new Vikings season record. Sam Bradford held the old mark in 2016. When he was with the Redskins, Cousins actually completed over 400 passes, and he may do that by the end of this game. But the important thing for the Vikings is get the win and hope that the Eagles lose at home to the Texans, and they're trailing by 3 in the third quarter. It's Cook, and he's got a first down inside the 15. Christian Jones may have saved him from getting to the end zone.
And this is one of the things they talked about in establishing the run. They expected the Lions to come out and kind of play this thing where you've got the guards covered. So you've got 5 down, and then you're really going to have like 1 in the middle. And you got to find that safety, and that's a good job of Dalvin Cook recognizing it and getting back inside.
His 14th career game, and showing some tough runs. 5'10" at 210 pounds, taking a breather as Murray comes in after he ran for 18 yards. Murray runs into a wall. An impressive opening drive to start the second half by the Vikings, who are energized from that Hail Mary touchdown right before the half that Cousins threw to Kyle Rudolph. Rudolph was saying, when I asked him before the game about not having a touchdown in the last 11 games, he said, well, they just haven't gone to me a lot in the red zone. Well, that time they found him from far beyond the red zone. That's Rudolph going out on, well, there's to say stayed inbounds, eventually wound up being run out by Tavon Wilson.
A good defensive recognition by the Lions there, anticipating that play action and trying to get that little movement of the pocket back into the short side.
Cousins over 180 yards passing with a couple of touchdowns, 12 out of 16 after a slow start against a tough Lion defense. On 3rd and 9, Thielen has the catch, but he does not have the first down. Evan Lawson on the coverage, and a good tackle to keep Thielen from getting upfield, so you got to bring out the field goal unit.
Yeah, as they started to get down in towards the red zone area, the Lions defense did a better job defending and tackling, and that's the way it should be. You know, the advantage tips to the defensive side. Yeah, there's less ground to cover. You've got more bodies in that area, so good tackling right there to set up this field goal attempt.
Thielen with 4 catches today for 75 yards, and this should be a chip shot for Bailey. 24 yards away. You're in your Christmas jacket. We got Rudolph. We got Bailey. It's a wonderful life for the Vikings right now. In a rivalry game, the Lions are hanging tough, but Minnesota sniffing the playoffs. Dalvin Cook getting it going. He's now the leading rusher in the game with 55 yards on 9 carries, averaging over 6 yards a carry. 17 straight points capped off on that drive. Nearly 70 yards and actually over 6 minutes off the clock to give the Vikings an 8-point lead as they are ready to kick off to Jamal Agnew and the Lions. Stafford will lead the offense out to the 25-yard line. He's the Lions nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. Has been surprising families for Christmas for years. Each year, him and his wife Kelly, they buy gifts, spend time with different families in the Detroit area, and then those families get to enjoy the game on the sideline with Kelly Stafford. And they've been doing it for a while and continue to do it, making a lot of people happy around the holidays. Other Lion players also have joined in the Christmas spirit. I know Kyle Rudolph and his wife also very active. God bless us, everyone. Stafford to throw. Run out of bounds. Kenny Galladay pitch. Laura?
I'm going to continue with this holiday spirit because what's so nice about this is Matthew doesn't share a lot of what he does publicly, and this is pretty special. His wife Kelly asked for nominations of families who are going through tough times. Of about 400 responses this year, they chose 3 families, a couple and 1 young woman, all here today. Kelly told me it's hard to put into words, but what I can tell you is we get so much more out of it than they do.
7 wide.
All right, thank you very much.
Here we go, attack 42.
Garrett 1 comes in on 2nd and 9.
Luigi, Lisa.
And it'll be 3rd and long. Stafford's a guy, he pointed out, we touched on it with that lower back problem, and of course the Lions will spend another season missing the playoffs, but he wanted to make sure he showed up. It's not about him just keeping a streak going, but showing his teammates, hey, I got a job to do, I'm here to play, I got to tough it out like everybody else.
It's so critical to find a quarterback that's going to be able to lead your team that everybody believes in. And Detroit has had Matthew Stafford for over a decade now. And it's not just what he does here at Ford Field and during the course of the NFL season, but not just Matthew, but his wife Kelly, their entire family, how they've embraced the city of Detroit here and the families that they support. It's just it's a great job.
On a 3rd and 7. And incomplete. Galladay looked like he could have been able to haul that in. It's going to be 4th down. Darryl Johnston, Chris Myers with Laura Oakman. We have Dean Blandino, our rules analyst, watching back in the studio, and hope you're enjoying the NFL on Fox. The Vikings in pretty good shape at the moment. If they hang on here and win, and the Eagles lose, and they're trailing Philadelphia at home 16-13 to the Texans, then Minnesota is in the playoffs. Seattle currently the 5 seed. They have a tough one against Kansas City. Of course, the Bears have won the division already. They wrap that up. And another tough catch for the rookie on the punt return, Brandon Zylstra, with Marcus Sherrills still out with an injury. Fans enjoying the scene at Ford Field. The Vikings now with an 8-point lead after having trailed 9-0. And that game they're interested in. The Eagles have tied the Texans at 16 as they play in the 3rd quarter at Philadelphia. Dalvin Cook on 1st down from the 25-yard line, and a good chunk as he gets almost 5 yards. The playoff picture. Mentioned Seattle playing Kansas City later. The Saints and the Rams and the Bears have all clinched their division. Cowboys trying to do that if they can hang on and win against Tampa Bay today.
Another critical thing for the Vikings, can they get ahead of Seattle and get to that 5, which gives them the Dallas Cowboys, whoever's in that 4th seed spot, gets them off the Chicago Bears at the number 3 seed. So
Vikings control their own path. Cousins going deep and over the head of Alvin Robinson.
Had him there. And we're getting a little bit more aggressive again, coming off that play action. And that's kind of the explosive, the aggressive component into this new philosophy that they're using under Kevin Stefanski. They're going to run the ball. A lot of people call that conservative. He doesn't agree with that. You know, they like to be aggressive in their run game. It sets up their play action where they take their shots. But he talks about the physicality and winning the individual battles. I like his philosophy with what he's trying to do.
Trying to get the first down, feeling the catch, but he may be short where he went out. And he's frustrated here. You don't go for it here in this situation. Do you on fourth?
No, not the way that Mike Zimmer plays the game. We've seen this quite a bit now the last couple of years with what Doug Peterson's been doing in Philadelphia, and a lot of aggressive decisions on fourth downs and short. But this is not the way that Mike Zimmer plays the game. It's a complementary style. You didn't get the first down. Okay, we're going to punt the ball, cover it. We're going to try and back you up and force you to drive the length of the field.
Unless, of course, there's a fake, but not usually in the Viking DNA, as Matt Weil will kick it away. Agnew chasing it inside the Lions 10. It's a good kick. He's got some room. He's going to get back to the 13 before he's brought down there. Good special teams tackle by Eric Wilson. Thielen was hoping he'd get the first, but instead they punted away to the Lions. Kirk Cousins with a couple of touchdown passes. Stafford engineering some drives in the first half to get field goals only. Lions have been kept out of the end zone. Minnesota the upper hand with a playoff spot on the line here.
Spot 50. Ready. Lady.
Sack center with a first down run and a flag down back at the 15-yard line.
Bowling, number 19. Offense, half the distance to the goal, still first down.
That's on receiver Kenny Galladay. Laura?
The last thing the Lions need are more injuries, but I have two more right now, Chris. Defensive tackle A'Shawn Robinson, cornerback Deshaun Sheed, both questionable, both with knee injuries. And on the Viking side, C.J. Ham questionable with an elbow injury. Marcus Sherrills has been officially ruled out with that foot injury he suffered earlier on.
Mark, thank you for the update. It's been that kind of physical game here at Ford Field.
Tag 50.
And the pressure on the quarterbacks to produce.
86. Lady.
Penalty hurt. First and 16. Center trying to get some of that back. When you sign a contract, you know, remember Stafford had the 5-year extension back in 2017, a value of over $150 million. People buzzing about Cousins when teams went after him. He's in the first year of a 3-year contract worth $27 million a year. So right away, if you don't produce, and they want big numbers, they want playoffs, Super Bowls, then people are going to take shots at you.
Yeah, expectations rise because of the salaries, but the big thing is as you move forward with the salary cap, all of a sudden you start to lose some key components of that team because you can't stay under the cap. So that's a slippery slope when you're the highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
But if you don't have a quarterback in the NFL, you don't have anything. Stafford has to get rid of that with a lot of pressures. He's knocked to the turf by Sheldon Richardson, and Carissa has another game break.
Thanks, Chris. So the Patriots up 14-6 on the Bills, looking to clinch the AFC East for the 10th straight season. Brady to Edelman, who stays on his feet. 32-yard score. Patriots up in this one, 21-6. Chris, Darrell, and more.
All right, thank you. And even in what is considered a down year, and of course, he had a lot of success with Bill Belichick in New England and Matt Patricia. They're on their way to their 10th straight division title. That's amazing. Is that more about the Patriots or the lack of competition in that division?
That could be more about the Dolphins, Jets, and Bills.
Okay. Stafford is going to go down. He had a moment, tried to get out of it. Everson Griffin, who's got 4.5 sacks, just added another one.
The margin of error, the way that Detroit has to play offensively, is so small. And what we've seen happen is the penalties on early downs get them behind the chains. And that's not where you want to be against this Minnesota defense. It's just too hard. So what they were doing early on when they were moving the football, some success on first down, but backed up on that drive with a penalty.
Yeah, now Everson Griffin, 14 sacks of Matthew Stafford, most of any player. He was tied with Jared Allen. Remember the great pass rusher? Well, he's moved up on his own. Zylstra has it, the rookie, and heads towards the sideline. As Laura reported moments ago, with Sherrills officially out, he's having to step in, and the physical pain having an effect on Stafford. Mentioned the Patriots were winning before, so the Cowboys closing in on a playoff appearance. If you go back to 1970, these franchises have the most playoff appearances since that mark. The Vikings right in the thick. And they've alternated average years under Mike Zimmer, winning a couple of division even number years. They've gone 7-9 and 8-8. They won the division in 15 and 17. Trying to get a wild card spot now. Cousins has a first down throw to Kyle Rudolph. Carissa has a game break.
Thanks, Chris. Eagles, Texans tied at 16. Nick Foles steps up in the pocket, delivers this bomb to Nelson Aguilar, 83 yards. Eagles, the 7th seed in the NFC, up by 7, chasing the Vikings. Chris, Darrell, and Laura.
Thank you. The defending champs just won't go down.
No, they will not. And now Nick Foles, starting to spread the ball around. It was all Sean Jeffrey, against the Rams last week. Now we've seen, Zach Ertz with a touchdown, Nelson Aguilar with a touchdown. So getting comfortable with everybody.
Cousins over 200 yards passing. Boy, high-pitched and a flag. Did his voice crack?
Ball start, number 82, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Fourth straight year for Kirk Cousins, surpassing the 4,000-yard mark. Helped him get that big contract after the numbers in Washington. And the expectations here, when you sign a guy like this, and you were just, they had the Minneapolis Miracle when they beat the Saints in the playoffs, and they had the Minnesota meltdown when the Eagles blew them out. So they thought they were Super Bowl material, and they still may be. That's why they went out and got Kirk Cousins to go with that great defense.
I think it's one of the other reasons why you make the change that Mike Zimmer made with John DeFilippo. You're close and you're just not in sync. All three phases haven't worked together. You've got a guy on your staff, Kevin Stefanski, who's been there, for years and learned under a number of different coaches, has a number of different styles to choose from and to work from. And, I like the decision. It's late in the year and a lot of people question why, but as you pointed out, Chris, you might get into a deep playoff push.
All you got to do is get hot at the right time. We've seen that happen with wild card teams before. Well protected. Rudolph on the other side. And he's going to be brought down by Christian Jones before the first down marker.
Talked to Mike Zimmer and asked him, the process of going through that. And he said, I think, you go against that offense of the Eagles last year in that championship game, you see how good they are. You want to be able to do some of those things, but it's really not fitting with his style. And he talked to John DeFilippo about it and what the philosophy of what they wanted to do. But like every coach, when it comes down to it, you start to go back to what you know best. And that offense has always been 65% pass, 35% run, and that's not what Coach Zimmer was looking for.
3rd one, big down for the Lion defense. Cook. Wow, he just plowed through that Lion defense, and yes, you got the first down.
Well, it looked like he was all bottled up in a mass of bodies, and all of a sudden he came shooting out the backside. Lining up close to the line of scrimmage like a fullback in that situation.
Yeah, he runs with more power than you would think by first glancing at him. He's got a dozen carries for 64 yards. There's the play selection. You talk about run-pass ratio. Rudolph, by the way, 6 catches, 100 yards. 3rd career 100-yard receiving day. And that Hail Mary touchdown. Just tripped up, or there was a lot of room for Cook. And Damon Harrison is the one who tripped him up. But the clock runs, and the 3rd quarter winding down. A 1-score game at the moment, but if the Vikings add more, it changes things dramatically for any kind of, and we know Stafford is capable of a 4th quarter comeback.
Hey, we're good. 180! What's that?
Flags fly as Murray gets to the 25. This may alter things a little bit in terms of field position.
Holding number 74 offense. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Second call today on Mike Remmers. That'll be the 9th penalty accepted on the Vikings.
Yeah, definitely not only the number, but the timing of them and what they've done. You know, extending drives by the Lions offense on illegal contact penalties. This one right here, kind of putting you on that field goal fringe decision. You know, what are you going to do here over the next 2 downs? 2nd and 18. Can you get it back into a manageable field goal decision for Dan Bailey?
Clock running.
Hey, Mike 52! Mike 52, here we go! 180! What is that? Sunday! Shut!
Under center where he's more comfortable, wanted to take it to the end of the quarter. Lions led early. Vikings have rallied. It's turned into a defensive struggle, but Minnesota a quarter away maybe from getting closer to the playoffs. This is Santa's big scene. Could be a Viking playoff scene if they hang on and win and the Eagles lose, but at the moment Philadelphia is up in the 4th quarter by 7 over the Texans. Watching that closely, as are the Vikings on 2nd and 18 to start the 4th quarter.
Base right.
Open. Rudolph near the 20. They'll be short of the first down, but they're back in field goal range. And it seems like they found something in getting the ball to Kyle Rudolph, his 7th catch to lead all receivers.
Yeah, and not just that Hail Mary at the end of the half, but that route right there you talked about, just a simple combination with the running back and the flat and Kyle Rudolph on that little corner route.
3rd and 2. Cousins is looking to throw. He's got Cook. Dalvin Cook has a first down. Tiptoes. There's a flag down as he was gliding down the sideline. Thielen is arguing, saying it's a
After the
touch.
catch and during the run, illegal block in the back, number 17 offense. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, which is still sufficient for a first down. It'll be 1st and 10.
Aldrick Robinson is called for the penalty.
Watch number 17 come into your screen right there. I think the argument is that he came in from the side and not in the back.
I mean, that's a touchdown otherwise.
Great job by Dalvin Cook working that sideline. Kind of lost through the whole process there of evaluating that penalty, but I kind of agree. It wasn't really in the back, and you saw the movement of the defender kind of went back inside instead of forward. So I think Adam Thielen and Aldrick Robinson had a good point there to complain.
Well, it's still a first down, spotted at the 17-yard line. And it'll give the Vikings a chance to run some more clock and maybe add to the 8-point lead.
Hey, kill! Kill! Kill hard! 180! What's that?
Dalvin Cook all the way down to the 7-yard line near another first down, maybe the 8. 8-yard pickup and a late flag. Now what?
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct number 24 of the defense. That'll be half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
See if we can figure out why they made the call on Nevin Lawson of the Lions.
Yeah, just some frustration, emotions getting the best of you. It's been a tough year for the Lions, tough afternoon for the Lions. So just watch on the finish of this play as 24 comes in. You'll see he and Pat Elflein. There's Nevin Lawson right there, and he thinks it's a late hit, a little bit of frustration, and he kicks at Pat Elflein right there. So that was the flag. Just a little bit of frustration on the way this day is starting to pan out for the Lions.
Well, then maybe it's fitting here if Cook gets the ball back. They fake to him. The toss to Rudolph, and he's into the end zone. Another Viking touchdown for Kyle Rudolph. Vikings have it.
Working from the traditional tight end position, saw a little bit of a down block, spin out, and you could see the release inside kind of caught Glover Quinn. Could never adjust and catch up and get back into coverage.
Penalties set it up. Rudolph with 2 touchdowns in this game. He came in with 2 for the season. Remember, had that string of 11 straight games without a score. The extra point, and that's big. Cousins with his 3rd touchdown pass. And the Vikings on cruise control here at Ford Field. Rudolph right on cue here in season, a career high 121 receiving yards, another touchdown, so that's 2 today. Boy, that first half ending Hail Mary really turned the tide in this game.
Well, it's all about momentum shifts, and Detroit controlled that entire first half. They didn't score a lot of points, but they were still in control, and that meltdown, giving up 2 touchdowns in that last 2 minutes. You know, Matt Patricia says these are tight games. They're going to be decided by 3 or 5 plays, and there was 2 huge ones right there at the end of that first half in the last 2 minutes.
See if Stafford could rally the Lions here at home with Daryl Johnston. Chris Myers again had an early Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. He put on his festive coat for it. Later you could decorate the tree. You and Rudolph could celebrate. The Vikings, you know, they had lost 3 or 4 before beating Miami. They appear to be on their way here. Second win in playoff gear at the right time, right? And no matter what you did before all this, that's all it takes if you have the talent, and they have enough talent.
Yeah, who's playing well if you get to the playoffs? You know, after Thanksgiving, who starts to play good football? I thought it was the LA Chargers, but we saw last night, you know, the Baltimore Ravens go out and have a great defensive performance against them. So is Minnesota, all the decisions they've made, getting ready to have a playoff push?
Quick tackle made right away. Garrett Blunt hauled it in, and Anthony Barr was there. This is a Viking team that has experience, not just going back to last year, but with Mike Zimmer and their runs and opportunities in the postseason. Stafford, though, 42, I should say 33 career game-winning drives. He had 1 this year. He's had 4 in his career against Minnesota. He's yet to pass for 100 yards in this game, but it's a run. Sack center carries. Under 13 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter. The Eagles are leading by 7. There's 11 minutes left in that game. But regardless, if the Vikings win here and they finish with the Bears, they win that when they're in, no matter what anybody else does. But the Bears will not be an easy task. They already clinched the division. The Bears are playing out at San Francisco later. That's a first down catch up around the 37-yard line. Andy Jones hauled it in as Stafford was harassed.
Yeah, it's still competing. You're going to move the pocket out to the right, and just a really nice job with this throw. The vision, locating the open receiver, and then the location of the throw in between a couple of defenders.
You know, there is a connection on this team with Mike Zimmer, the head coach who calls the defensive plays and has had times during the year. You mentioned the offensive coordinator change. He had a play that he called against the Dolphins last week. Stafford, middle of the field open, and he can't get him the football, trying to get to Jones. And Stafford was knocked down once again. Galladay was the target. Zimmer called a blitz, and the Dolphins had a quick second-half touchdown, and he told the team, hey, that's my fault. That was me. That was on me. Those kinds of things seem to go a long way with players.
Absolutely, and the response by his team from that point on. I mean, there was negative yardage over the next 5 possessions by the Dolphins offense. So, yeah, when you walk to the sideline, hey, that was on me. You know, probably shouldn't have been in that situation. So you love when coaches support you, take ownership.
Garrett
Blunt. Harrison Smith got to him first, but it took some other people to bring him down and got a first down.
You know, on the opposite side of this conversation, the Detroit Lions, you know, what are they doing down the stretch? And it's frustrating for me as a player when you hear people talk about, what's the effort going to be? Are we going to start getting ready for next year? I mean, every time you walk onto a football field, you're trying to win the game. And Matt Patricia has been around success for a long time, and he's watched his team grow. And it's just going to be the evaluation on the offensive side of the ball will be challenging because of all the injuries.
Ready? Lady, Lisa.
Blunt is tackled by Harrison Smith. The Lions will not have a winning season after going 9-7 each of the 2 prior seasons. They made the playoffs in 16, but not in 17 when Jim Caldwell was dismissed. And now the Eagles have expanded their lead, keeping the heat on the Vikings for that playoff spot. Lions just getting to the playoffs is one thing. They haven't won a playoff game since 1992. You played in that game for the Cowboys.
Thank you for reminding me.
They've lost 9 straight playoff games. Lion fans, patient, loyal, devoted, but frustrated. Blunt trying to shake that tackle. Anthony Harris held on. But they're out here supporting their team and hoping for as long as they've been around. You think one of the few franchises that haven't been to a Super Bowl, like the Cleveland Browns or Jacksonville, Houston Texans.
That's not a happy lion right there.
There's a lion under there somewhere.
Yeah. Simba's not happy.
Hey, 55 race, 55 race. Ready? Lady,
Stafford from the pocket. Incomplete. Andy Jones the target. They wanted a flag. They're not going to get one. 4th down.
Yeah, I mean, very competitive. Matthew Stafford frustrated at the top of this route. The feet are going to get tangled. It's a great job picking up a blitz. This is executed very well. I think what he's talking about is that contact. It should have been another illegal contact at the top of that route when it broke outside. So Holton Hill very fortunate not to have a flag, and another 1st down for the Detroit Lion offense via penalty.
Chad Beebe back to receive the punt. Rookie from Northwestern. Waves for the fair catch and has it. Just over 9 minutes to play. It's a 24-9 Viking advantage, and they have the football. In Motown, the sound, it never gets old. Well, albums. Still have any old albums lying around? Any vinyl? Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers enjoying our time here in Detroit. Vikings with the football and a commanding lead.
Lady, what's up?
Latavius Murray has some room. He's got a 1st down. Knocked down around the 23-24 yard line.
I think this is an opportunity for us to see, where this Minnesota team is getting ready to try and get that playoff position. Can you run the clock down? Can you control this at the end of the game? You want to have the running game be an important part of your offense. So one of the biggest challenges, running the football when the defense knows that's exactly what you want to do. And they've struggled a little bit here today against this Detroit Lions front. So how do they perform down the stretch here in the run game?
But the offense over 330 total yards after such a, as you mentioned, slow start. So whatever that formula was against the Dolphins, their best offensive output of the season, they found a way to make it work. Mix up there on the incompletion, and game break now. Say hi for the first time today to Kurt Menefee. Hey, Kurt.
Hey, Chris. Say hey to Zach Ertz. He's got 11 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns receiving today, 112 catches on the year, most ever by a tight end in a single season. Nick Foles has 4 touchdown passes, 400 yards, and the Eagles are still alive in the playoff hunt. Got all that?
Got all that, and they looked like they were going crazy in Philadelphia. The fans excited for an opportunity. But if the Vikings win here and win next week, it won't matter what the Eagles do. Murray shoved back from the 25-yard line.
And we really haven't talked about the Eagles of being that team that kind of figures everything out right as the playoffs started, just like they did last season on their Super Bowl run. So Nick Foles getting that start again after Carson Wentz goes out, and boy, a couple weeks later, they look the same as they did last year.
Yeah, it was that win against the Rams, just like last year, when they kind of pushed themselves forward. Only now there's just not a lot of room. It would take a Seattle and Minnesota stumble to open the door for Philadelphia. The Cowboys appear to be on their way to nailing down the division with a 27-13 lead. And 5.5 minutes left in their game in Texas. Cousins, incomplete. There is no flag. Diggs was the target, and they got tangled up with Slay. And the flag is back at the 15-yard line.
One offense, penalty is declined.
Right.
4th down.
So there was not a flag in the secondary. There was a call on Riley Reif. They're talking about in the future, Minnesota really likes Brian O'Neill, the 2nd-round draft pick, the rookie right tackle from Pittsburgh. Talking about maybe moving him eventually down the road next year or so over to left tackle, maybe moving Reif to a guard position. Try and strengthen this offensive line a bit. But a chance for the Lions, down 2 scores, get the football back. 7.5 to go. Wild booms this. A flag down and all the way back at the 20. And knocked down around the 32. Flag is at the 34-yard line. Jamal Agnew on that return.
During the kick, holding number 21 receiving team. It'll be a 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. It'll be 1st down, timeout.
That'll back up. The calls on Marcus Cooper. Stafford backed up a little bit as you get a look from above at downtown Detroit. Penalty on the Lions special teams from the 10-yard line, trailing 24-9, just over 7 minutes to go. All 3 timeouts. A lot of work to do for Matthew Stafford, who's thrown for only 109 yards. There have been no turnovers in this game. And Galladay could not hang on. He separated from the defensive back, but Stafford led him a little too much.
Yeah, and that defensive back, Xavier Rhodes, is still down.
The starting corners on this Viking team, Trey Waynes, Xavier Rhodes, do a lot of things to free up other people because of their coverage skills, and that doesn't look good.
There's Kenny Galladay. He tries to cut him off, and they have a collision, and then something happens. You can see him pull up as he tries to catch up. And just beyond the outstretched hands of Kenny Galladay. It's kind of the microcosm of today, Chris. I mean, this game was in their grasp early on. Yeah, they just couldn't finish their opportunities. And there's Xavier Rhodes pulling up as he's helped off the field.
That close. And Rhodes limping to the Vikings sideline. Galladay, leading receiver for the Lions today with 6 catches.
Ready. Ready.
Second down 10. From just beyond the 10. Stafford. And incomplete. Well, the Viking defense, they came in as the sack leaders in the NFL. They only had 1, but there's other ways to win a game defensively.
Yeah, they've been really good, throughout the game. They've been forced to play on a short field, and they forced the Detroit Lions to kick field goals until that Minnesota offense woke up. Less than 200 yards of total offense, 178. 4 for 13 on 3rd downs. But the big thing is their red zone defense, being able to defend that short field.
And they got better in the second half. The defense got stronger. They have shut out the Lions after they trailed 9-0. Stafford's going to do a little flip to Theo Riddick, but he's not going to get the first down. Remember last year the Vikings led the NFL in scoring defense. They allowed less than 16 points a game, but they're not even top 10 this year. And on 4th down, they're staying out there. They only need 4. Stafford is going to get sacked. And then we'll put the Vikings with Eric Wilson getting the 2nd sack of the game for Minnesota in a lockdown position.
You have Eric Kendricks out of your lineup, and you put in Eric Wilson, and he does a heck of a job. And again, you get linebackers matched up against running backs and pass protection, and these linebackers for the Vikings are very good blitzers. And everybody talked about that. We talked to Matthew Stafford, we talked to Coach Patricia, and they said it's just such a great blend of talent and scheme for Minnesota. It seems like their players fit perfectly into what they're trying to do from a scheme standpoint with their pressure package.
And a sack with 6.5 to go. Dalvin Cook now is back in with Kirk Cousins at the controls from the 10 of Detroit. And Cook with nowhere to go. He may lose a half a yard. John Atkins, the rookie from Georgia, on the play. Kirk Cousins, 20 out of 27, 3 touchdowns. The first one went to Diggs, and this is when everything tipped in favor of the Vikings. The Hail Mary to Kyle Rudolph to end the first half.
And a lot of credit to Kirk Cousins extending that, having the opportunity to get the ball down the field, and just the first of 2 for Kyle Rudolph on the day at the end of the half. So the passing game today, kind of what carried the offense last week against Miami. It was a run game. You can see today a slow start, but look at what Kirk Cousins has done since that time.
And Kevin Stefanski, offensive coordinator, very patient when it was a slow start. They had 4 3-and-outs and were trailing in the game. Cousins floats one to Rudolph. It'll be knocked down at the 10-yard line by Quandre Diggs. Kind of maybe an overlooked note about Cousins that I mentioned at the top, and it shows today with his 20 out of 27 that behind Breeze, he's the most accurate passer in the NFL, not only this season but over the course of a career. And that's saying a lot because he's not just a dink and dunk kind of a thrower.
Now, we've seen him stretch the field a couple of times today, and boy, if he gets that dialed in with Aldrick Robinson going deep and Thielen, and now you've got a really explosive offense to go with that commitment to the run game. So every game has a little bit different complexion to it. So last week it was the run game they leaned on. Today it was the passing game that kind of gave that energy to this offense.
Cook knocked down. Lion defense fighting hard to the finish here. Darius Slay makes the play. Slay as in one horse open, staying with that Rudolph holiday theme. Oh, you put
tying it in everything.
You put your regular jacket on now. Okay, you're back to an announcer man instead of holiday. Well, you're the kind of guy you should. Our audience should know this time of year. You and I driving to the game. We love cranking up the Christmas carols, whether they're old, whether they're new. You like the old school ones, Bing Crosby and Perry Como. They never get old. Kind of goes with the season, just like getting to the playoffs. And the Vikings hope to do that, but the Eagles are winning. And so Minnesota will have to fight to the finish themselves from 29 yards away, and it's good. Houston just added some points. We'll update that. Now this from State Farm. 4:15 remaining in the 4th quarter, a 27-9 lead. Texans have scored, so Houston is within 6 and just over 4.5 in that game. Again, just you haven't been following along the playoff picture for the Vikings. That other spot, the Eagles, Seattle's in that best spot with the 5th seed. All they have to do is win one of their remaining 2 games. Dallas with a 2-touchdown lead in the 4th quarter, ready to clinch the NFC East. Agnew knocked down short of the 20-yard line. And the big picture, if things were to line up this way, remember the first 2 get the bye, right? You get that off week, so you're concerned about who has to play Seattle, right? Because the 3 seed will play the 6 seed, which in this case would be Bears, Minnesota, and they finished the regular season playing each other.
Well, you know, more so last week before Seattle went to San Francisco and got beat in overtime, and now maybe, as you've pointed out, has Minnesota found that formula that they had last year? You know, do the Vikings become the team you don't want to have to play in that first round of the playoffs?
Matthew Stafford, who started despite the lower back pain and some missed practice over the last few weeks, has handed it off to Matt Castle here with the game well in hand for the Vikings.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 60, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Stafford finished with over 115 yards passing. Steady in that first half. Wasn't sacked until the second half, and again didn't turn the ball over, but other than Kenny Golladay, didn't really have much to go to.
No, and the supporting cast is very important to a quarterback, and it's a little bit limited for the Lions right now because of injury, but a lot of credit to Matthew Stafford coming out as banged up as he is physically at this point of the season.
T.J. Jones on the catch from Castle, who's in his 14th year. First season with the Lions after a couple of years with the Titans. Only action this season came at the end of a loss to the Jets. He made a couple of starts when he was in Tennessee for a couple of years. This is his 7th team. Patriots, Chiefs, Vikings, Bills, Cowboys, Titans. Castle. Incomplete.
Castle's pass incomplete.
There is a flag.
Pass interference, number 19, offense. 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Call against Golladay. Kurt Menefee has another game break.
Well, it looked like the Eagles were rolling, and Houston is trying to roll right back in it. Deshaun Watson to Deontay Foreman, who's playing for the first time this year because of the injury to Lamar Miller, and he'd been out with a torn Achilles. He's recovered, and they're trying to recover on the scoreboard. It's now a 6-point game. Houston, with a win, wraps up the AFC South. Chris and Moose.
All right, thank you, Kurt. Patriots 2 minutes away from wrapping up the AFC East with a 24-6 lead over Buffalo. Cowboys 2 minutes away from wrapping up the NFC East. Brandon Powell pulls that in, and Xavier Rhodes is questionable for the remainder of this game. We saw him limp off with a groin injury in that Vikings secondary. But they're loaded back there with some young players like Mackenzie Alexander. We've seen Holton Hill, the rookie from Texas. Castle with pressure coming, and he felt it from Everson Griffin. Got rid of it.
The one thing that jumps out to me today is the depth that they're able to have, and you talked about that rotation in the defensive line with some of the guys backing up those big names, Stephen Weatherly, Jaleel Johnson, Tom Johnson, guys like that. But even at the linebacker level, they talked about the Kendricks Barr combination at linebacker, and with him out, you wondered how that would impact. Eric Wilson had stepped in and played very well this afternoon, so the depth that this defense has is very impressive.
And Barr, a free agent at the end of the year, Vikings, and I'm sure he would hope they can get something done to remain in Minnesota. 5-time Pro Bowler Anthony Barr on 4th down. Castle's throw is knocked away from Golladay by Mackenzie Alexander.
It was one of those guys you talked about, Chris. You know, Xavier Rhodes goes out, and Mackenzie Alexander, who's one of the slot guys, and nickel corner, comes out, starts playing a little bit on the outside. Real nice job deflecting that ball away.
And they're taking each other out. That was Rhodes over standing on the side. We just talked about his injury.
Got to have your head on a swivel, even on the sideline.
Well, you talk about a hot team going into the playoffs, assuming that the Vikings can get there, but still some work needs to be done because the Eagles are leading by 6 with 4 minutes to go. It's been an interesting year. Let's just take the NFC, for example. The Rams looked unbeatable, and then they have stumbled. The Saints for a while looked unstoppable, and they had that stretch. Their defense is actually playing well, but they showed that Thursday night game with the Cowboys that things could change going back a few weeks. And there's the Bears with that defense and an emerging quarterback and a creative coach and play caller and Matt Nagy. Laura?
Kyle Rudolph was such a great game today. 2 touchdowns. I talked to him before the game. He talked about when you're not winning games and you're not part of the offense, it's frustrating. But he said what I learned this year was I can have a lot more roles than just catching the ball to help us win, things that don't show up in the box score. He said I had my least productive stat game last week, but spent the entire game blocking 2 Pro Bowl pass rushers. I felt like that was the best game of my season. And he said I love being congratulated all week in the building about my blocking. All that being said, he's going to be much happier today with this offensive production. But pretty great, just vision.
And the performance of those tight ends, we didn't call David Morgan or Tyler Conklin very much today, the rookie from Central Michigan. But they all made a commitment as Murray carries through last week, and the emphasis from Mike Zimmer and the new offensive coordinator, we're going to run the ball, run the ball. Yeah, you have to do other things, but it takes people to do different things.
Yeah, and you saw the increase in snaps from C.J. Ham and getting David Morgan back from his injury. They're getting healthy. Now we've got to see how C.J. Ham, as he hurt his elbow here today, and what does that impact moving forward for the style of run game that Kevin Stefanski wants to implement here. But you get everybody healthy and you get everybody in the right frame of mind mentally. Everybody knows what it is. And we heard that. If you're getting ready for the game this week, you could hear these guys buy into what Kevin Stefanski was talking about, what Mike Zimmer had been talking about. So these guys seem to be all in on this, and that's when some good things can happen.
And you wonder why Zimmer didn't hire him in the first place instead of John DeFilippo. I mean, a guy's right there in-house, and even Mike Zimmer admitted to that. Hey, you get caught up in things. As the Lions used another timeout, they have one remaining on 3rd and a yard. Still have the 2-minute warning. Vikings trying to ice this. They'll finish their regular season at home against the Bears next week. And a tough run, but not good enough by Latavius Murray for the first down. So on 4th, do you go?
Yeah, you go. You convert it. You let it go down to the 2-minute warning, and then you get into everybody's favorite personnel group and formation, victory.
And looks like that's what Mike Zimmer is going to do. Play clock will expire before the 2-minute warning, so they'll have to snap on 4th and 1. Murray is the back. What's up?
Cousins on the keeper.
Kirk Cousins has the first down pending the whistle.
Prior to the snap, Minnesota coach calls his first charge timeout of the half.
Now that decision I don't understand, Chris.
Neither does Kirk Cousins. You saw the head shake on 4th and 1 with 2:07 and the 2-minute warning. Bonus coverage from the Meadowlands. The Jets ahead of the Packers by 5, and that's just over 4.5 remaining in that game. We'll try and take you out there and check out some other games. Dallas has now a 7-point lead with 1:45 to go in their game against the Buccaneers. They're trying to win and lock up the NFC East.
They better take care of business at home. They don't want to be on the road against the Giants next week trying to clinch.
That's what I was going to say about this Viking game. Let's assume for a moment Vikings hang on here and Philadelphia does win, so Minnesota has to win next week. How do the Bears play that, Daryl? They've clinched the division, but they might have a chance to increase their seeding. And then you're going to play a team as Murray tries to get the first down, and he won't after the timeout. That'll take us to the 2-minute warning. And we'll continue the discussion on if the Bears-Vikings close out the regular season and then have to face each other in the first round of the playoffs. 2-minute warning here in Detroit. Vikings ready to close it out. Holiday sweater here at Ford Field. The Texans have just gone in front 30-29 of the Eagles nearing the 2-minute mark in Philadelphia. That's good news for the Vikings. Castle's throw incomplete. Trying to get it to Zach Zenner. That's been a wild game at Philadelphia. Texans win over the Eagles and a Viking win here, which is 2 minutes away or less, and Minnesota's in the playoffs. Kirk Cousins, his 3-touchdown game. The Cowboys have won, so they capture the NFC East. Let's get a game break and say hi again to Carissa.
Thanks, Chris. So Texans trailing 29-23 in the Eagles, and Deshaun Watson goes up top. Vincent Smith, recipient of his 35-yard score. Texans up 30-29. Eagles would be eliminated with a loss and a Vikings win. Chris?
All right, but still a little magic with Nick Foles in Philadelphia. We saw that through last year, especially in the postseason. We'll keep a close watch on that. Cowboys have won to nail down the NFC East. The Patriots have won their 10th straight AFC East division title. They defeat Buffalo 24-12. The Browns won. They're out of the playoff picture, but they beat Cincinnati and Hugh Jackson with Marvin Lewis underneath the center as the clock continues to run. One timeout remaining for the Lions. The Colts rallied to beat the Giants in Indianapolis 28-27. Their playoff hopes are still alive. Miami, the Dolphins lost at home to Jacksonville. They're done as far as playoff possibilities.
They were done last week.
For a first down, as the Vikings are in a prevent, and Matt Castle in relief of Matthew Stafford chipping away, nearing the 1 minute mark. So the Vikings may be in line for a celebration here. As soon as they wrap up this victory, I'm sure they'll check on that Texan Eagles score. Castle incomplete. Andy Jones in the area.
I think the big thing is there any change moving forward over the next 10 days to, about that the 3, 4, 5, and 6 seedings in the NFC.
So what about the Vikings? If Zimmer plays at home against the Bears next week and they already have a playoff spot, it's a whole different approach, right? If you know you're going to play them in the opening round of the playoffs, you've already played them earlier in the year. That was a signature win for the Bears, remember, when they defeated Minnesota that Sunday night.
Now, sometimes when you have a preseason matchup, you don't want to show a lot if you're going to play that team later on in the season, but division rivals know each other so well. And even though this is Matt Nagy's first year with the Bears, they know that offense. I mean, John DeFilippo is from that offense that they're running there, so they're very comfortable with that. So you're not trying to hide anything. You're just trying to keep everybody healthy and make sure you're going into the playoffs with the best opportunity to have some success. So it'll all depend on what's at stake. I think the Rams play a big role in that, how they finish out for the Bears.
Bears still have an opportunity to get the 2 seed. Rams still have an opportunity to get the 1 seed should New Orleans lose their final 2. Some of those scenarios unlikely. Incomplete off the hands of Brandon Powell. And this is up to date with the Saints, the number 1 seed. The Cowboys win, clinching the East. So all 4 divisions are settled. Seattle pretty much a lock as a wild card, likely to get the 5 seed. Minnesota in position to grab the last spot, and things will be decided if these scores hold up in the NFC going into the final week, at least in terms of who's in, and then there may be some jockeying for seedings with the division winners. Castle on 4th and 10 is going to run and slide for a first down. Eagles have the football, but they're trailing. All they need is a field goal with Nick Foles to try and rally against the Texans. Impressive for the kind of season, kind of up, kind of down, kind of average for the Vikings to have made the change at offensive coordinator. Seems like the defense is coming together well at the right time also.
Well, I don't think the question was the defense. And Mike Zimmer actually said at the beginning of the year, maybe I put too much on their plate. I think they focused a lot on the RPO defensive package because they struggled so much in Philadelphia last year in the championship game. Maybe got away from what they do, so they got that figured out. I think that's the change in the offensive coordinator. Let's get back to what we do well, and that's that complementary style. And you can see it today, whether it was the run last week against Miami, they had to lean on the pass today, so they're really starting to get those 3 phases working well together.
You hear about the weather changing in an offensive league this time of year when the run game and defense seems to take over. Looks like that's a formula that Minnesota could ride with, even though they're built for an indoor team. Obviously they play indoors. And there's a nice defensive play once again as Matt Castle is sacked.
And what have we seen, the latter part of the year? We've seen the really big defensive performances, the Cowboys shutting down the Saints, the Eagles, or the Bears shutting down the Rams. We saw the Ravens shut down the Chargers last night.
And the Vikings in a groove here. As the clock will run out on Castle and the Lions. They'll go to 5 and 10, 8-6-1, and on the doorstep of the playoffs, Kirk Cousins in his first year in Minnesota, and a trip back for Mike Zimmer and the Vikings. We have a lot more to come on the Viking victory from Ford Field. You're watching the NFL on Fox.